Hello, everybody. How's it going? How's everybody doing? How we doing? Happy Pride Month. Lovely rainbow background. I hope y'all are doing well. Um, I am here this level up this Wednesday. Gonna show you one of my other very favorite map making programs. So I've been working with Wonderdraft for my world maps, but Battlemaps are a pretty big part of playing Dungeons and Dragons and other TTRPGs virtually. And my preferred battle map maker is called Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist can be purchased on Steam. They are not affiliated with us or vice versa in any way. They aren't sponsoring this. I've just been using it for a long time now, and it's amazing, and it continues to just get better and better, like earnestly. So I wanted to take a moment this week to showcase it and work on some battle maps for a digital content pack that we are going to put out, possibly for a giveaway. The TikTok is accruing followers, and if we hit 200 by next Tuesday, we're going to do a giveaway. And this potentially is going to be part of that. It's potentially going to be a part of a Patreon digital pack. That we are going to start sending things out monthly once our Patreon followers start to build up. So yeah, we're going to work on some battle maps tonight. So when you boot up Dungeon Alchemist, get rid of my McAfee advertisement. So when you boot up Dungeon Alchemist, this pops up. This changes every Monday, and there are always interesting little things on here. They will do, sometimes they'll do contests, and they do prizes of like gift cards for Hero Forge, which is a mini making website, and they showcase popular maps and assets from the Discord that people upload, and from the Steam Workshop. You can upload your maps and share them with folks, and it's super cool. And yeah. So anyway, you boot up Dungeon Alchemist, and this is where you land. Now, typically you would not have anything on the screen because unless you've been using Dungeon Alchemist, but whatever you were working on last is what's up on the screen when you boot up. This I will possibly bring up later in the episode if folks are hanging out, and talk about it a little bit, because this is obviously not a battle map, but it's something that I made for our stream campaign that we're going to be getting ready for soon. And yeah, I'll talk about this later. So we're going to do a new map. Now, this is where you get some options, as you can see for yourself. We will be using the digital version. They did incorporate this really cool print option and print delivery. Print delivery comes from Kraken Wargames, which makes amazing products, and you can get tabletop mats with your custom maps, which is super cool. I haven't done that yet. I will likely do that at some point. I might do that with the thing that's on the screen now. But anyway, so you get a couple of options. We're going to obviously be using the digital because we're playing in a virtual space. You can set your size parameters, your width and your height. Caveat, and this is something that we dealt with a little bit last night recording our latest episode of Tabletop Turntable. The bigger the map, the longer the export, the laggier it might be on your virtual tabletop, depending on which one you use. Something else I will speak about once we get into it a little bit. Dungeon Alchemist does support exporting for specific virtual tabletops. There's a Roll20 export, there's a Foundry export, and a couple of others. They also do just a general export. You can export the just as an image, as PDF. It's very versatile, gives you lots of options. But yeah, so you can set your size. We're just going to stick with a 30 by 30 because I think that's just a good standard size. Now, I did post on the TikTok asking some folks about their suggestions for must-haves in a battle map list for a campaign or a one-shot or module or whatever. Got a couple of good suggestions. If you have any suggestions and you want to let throw them in the chat, go ahead. Maybe I'll do them. I've gotten pretty quick with Dungeon Alchemist. I'm going to take my time with this first map that I'm going to put together to really talk through it. But my goal for the hour is to do 3 maps. I know. I'm a madman. But the 3 maps that I have off the top of my head, campsite, because what D&D campaign or TTRPG fantasy campaign, what party doesn't camp, doesn't take a rest? Campsite. I'm going to do a graveyard / tomb, and I'm going to do a tavern. So because those in my mind are 3 must-haves in any campaign. If you have any other suggestions, feel free to throw them out there in the chat, as I said a moment ago, and we'll see what happens. So you have a couple of options for your terrain. Now, the dark parchment option is just a blank sort of background. It's ideal for like old school dungeon crawls where you're making just the sort of blocky, Pac-Man style kind of maze. Or interiors. I use it a lot for interiors that where I don't want any exterior stuff, any land or anything. But you got a couple of really cool options here, and maybe I'll go through these at some point. But they're all very different aesthetically. They all have completely different color palettes, and it does have a lot of versatility. You also get the option of being able to go in and change some things, some colors and things, and there's more on the way. That's the other thing about Dungeon Alchemist that is just amazing, is they release patches every once in a while that have big updates in them. This next one that's coming out, I believe it's actually next Wednesday. So the next level up, I will showcase the new stuff, but it is introducing a Feywild aesthetic with some of the plants and the foliage and stuff. So yes, James, Dungeon Alchemist is just the jam. All right, so you can choose your terrain. Because we're doing a campsite, we're just going to go old school classic. We're going to do the forest. This is a really neat feature. You can change your elevation, and you have a lot of different options here. Now, it's important to remember that you have complete control over the terrain, over the map, over the elevation, if there's water, all of that sort of stuff. So choosing any one of these things, bear in mind that you can change it without having to redo all your settings or anything. There's brush tools, which I'll show you. So encourage experimentation when you're first starting out. So we're doing a campsite though. Let's set this in some mountains. We'll make it a broadleaf forest. We will put a river nearby, which I'm probably going to have to shrink down because it always makes the river so big in my mind. They haven't introduced any other weather elements, but you can put snow, which will put snow on the ground and snow in the trees, which is super neat. And then you can change your room placement. So if you wanted to build a room, build buildings, there are lots of options for what kinds of structures you want to put, what kind of rooms you want to put. And this lets you to determine where they go as far as the elevation of the map. Now, when you export the map, there are aspect rate. There's a aspect ratio. The walls are rendered. You have that. You can tell that you're looking at a 3-dimensional space. You can make it 100% flat. They give you that option. But choosing the mountaintop elevation, obviously going to put your buildings higher up, et cetera, et cetera. I do believe, I don't know if this is in the next pack or not, the next download patch. They are going to be introducing multi-leveled building where you can place buildings on all 3 levels in the same map, which I think is super cool, especially because I like doing tiered cities and tiered villages. But that's on the way. But anyway, I'm so rambly. I don't talk to a lot of people while I'm at work during the day, so when I get off work, I tend to verbally vomit. So we're gonna just do plateau, which is the middle. Yeah, I think we're set. So and then it creates your map, or at least the canvas, which we will be making the map on. Zoom out. Oh boy, I need a new mouse real bad. That wheel on my mouse is going. All right, so this is what it gives us. A fully rendered three-dimensional map. This is obviously the 3D mode, 3D view, but you can do, oh, nope, that's the wrong button. Cinematic view though. You can do the angled view, top down. This is with that height representation. So yeah, all right. So this is going to be the base for our campsite. Now, as I mentioned earlier, look at all that friggin' water. We're gonna get rid of some of that. So we'll come over here to our terrain tool, and there's lots of things here. And each one of these things is self-explanatory. If you really are confused about any of them, let me know in the chat, and I will clarify. But yeah, that's that. We're gonna choose flatten terrain to room height, because this is gonna put all of the levels that we want to raise up at the same height, and that gives us a good base to build up from. I'm just gonna bump my brush size and my brush strength up all the way, so this goes a little bit quicker. And we're going to just get rid of some of this water, get rid of some of these peaks out here, and we're going to kind of make our campsite, I think, in this section down here. Make it a little more even. Truth be told, when I first got Dungeon Alchemist, which I got into the Kickstarter, why did it do that? I sat with it for, I mean, like every day, and I just played. I just made maps. Super, super fun. It's got kind of that, you know, I like simulation games. You know, I like games where I can make cities and villages and things, and just being able to come in and play with this and all the cool tools that it has was just a lot of fun for me. Very relaxing. So we're going to come over here now, the brush tool for objects. So you can place objects, and you'll see all of these categories. Each one of these categories then has subcategories, some of them way more than others. This game literally has hundreds of assets, and you can download custom assets that other people have made. So the potential for the kinds of stuff you can fill your maps with is limitless. I have downloaded a couple of assets. I might show some of them off because I think some of them would be appropriate for the maps that we are making. But yeah, super, super, super neat. But we're going to erase some objects because I want to get rid of some of these trees for now. And you can also put more trees, which I want to make that real dense foresty mountain. You can mix. There's a couple of different kinds of trees. Give us some versatility, some biodiversity here. I really do need a new mouse. I need, wife, are you still watching? I need a new mouse. I gotta order a new mouse this friggin' weekend. We're gonna put some bushes, because who doesn't love some bushes? But yeah, I think that looks pretty good for now. I like having a bit of variety in terms of the terrain. So we're going to come down and add a little bit of variation along here, just to break it up a little bit. Now, it is important to remember that this is a battle map, so it is meant to have a fight on it. Now, down here, you have a pretty good flat open area to have a fight, but you know, that's a little bit limiting, right? So I think what I'm gonna do is make a couple of little clearings, and then raise up the terrain in those clearings. I'm going to take the smoothing tool, which just kind of sculpts and like sort of polishes the peak stuff kind of down a little bit, smooths it out, as the name smooth would imply. It's particularly useful, I find, for coastlines and like river edges. I also like doing it on the edge of some of my maps, just because I think I find it aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, I think that that's pretty good. Flatten some of this terrain though. The idea being that we're going to give ourselves a couple of plateaus, because I find that giving the combat area levels, places that either the party can go to get advantage, or that the enemies can attack from, just adds a little bit more variety, a little spice, if you will. And yeah, so I'll tweak this one because I set it too high. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, move some of these trees though. Give us a little bit more eyes on like the paths that one might take. This is me just also trying to break up the color a little bit. Now, Dungeon Alchemist does use an AI to sort of procedurally place objects, and it is constantly being updated and improved, but it's not perfect. Like nothing is. Which one of you are perfect? So I often will go in and tweak things. Part of that is just OCD, but I also like aesthetics are important to me, and the devil's in the details, as they say. And I spend a lot of time finessing my maps. Probably too much time, because when we're playing, I doubt very much that the party's like really drinking in the maps, but that's okay. It's therapeutic for me, and I like it. It's a fun exercise in creativity. So up here is the paint tool. Now the paint tool is for terrains and liquids. Since we have this set kind of in the mountains, we're going to put some of these rocky terrain bits up here and make the brush bigger, and actually drop the brush strength some, so that it's a little more varied. Because if you will find that if you like looking here, you can see that the patterns do repeat a little bit. But that's okay. I mean, it's, it is what it is. Because we're making a campsite, though, I think what I want to do is put a sort of a dirt tramped upon area here. And I think I want to drop some rocks. I should have remembered the rocks. Now, the object brush will sometimes replace some of the things that are already there. Another important thing, collisions. You can turn collisions off. Turning collisions off means that the map, you can move things anywhere. If you turn collisions on, objects will not collide with one another. But I find it just makes the maps look a little more cohesive if you turn collisions off. The pretty blue water is in fact pretty, but I think let's make it cave water. No, let's make it muddy water. Yeah, it's gonna be the muddy water campsite. All right, so what do we think about that terrain? Terrain looks pretty good, right? I feel like that looks pretty good. Chat, what say ye? All right, so we're coming down to the utility section. We're going to go to the camping category. Camping category has all of these assets that are appropriate for camping. Some of these assets appear in other categories, but that is how the utility subset is broken up, which is great, I think. I'm going to take a couple of these tents. a couple of these tents. And you know, that's a cool leathery color, but let's make them dark blue. You can't change the color of every object, but you can change the color of a lot of objects. All right, so we got our tent. What else should we put in our campsite? Well, obviously, we gotta put a campfire. Let's make it a little bit bigger. They do call it a bonfire after all in the list here. Now, one of the cool things about Dungeon Alchemist 2 is the environment concept. You can tell, you saw earlier the reflection of the sun. Well, there are lighting options. You can choose what time of day it is. Morning, noon, evening, and night. But more than that, you can change what color whatever's in the sky is. So maybe your world has a purple sun, or a pale bluish green sun, or a red sun. You can change the direction that the sun is coming from, how high it is in the sky, which is a little weird because you have like the different times of day, but again, and just how bright it is. You can I usually keep it, or try to keep it around or just under like half, and I keep this fairly low usually. Well, let's make it evening since this is a campsite. Got a nice full moon, we'll say. Make it a little bit brighter. Yeah, I think that's good. Alright, so we have our tents and our campfire. What else does a campsite need? Let's throw one of these backpacks inside this tent. Again, a detail that only I know about. I really like that the lantern on this backpack lights up though, and I love that the light shines from inside the tent. And then you can change the light. You can make it brighter, which is I think cool because you get these cool shadows. Same thing with the bonfire. You can make it brighter, and you can change the color even. Maybe this is a magic blue fire. Or an orangish greenish one. Super neat, lots of detail. We'll put a bedroll. We'll put one of these bedrolls just outside. Now I assure you the janky rotation of these objects is 100% my mouse. This program the interface is pretty spectacular. So I apologize for that. We got a cooking pot. I think that's a pretty good campsite necessity. We're gonna put it right there. That fire's huge, so I'm gonna put it out, but it's still embery and a little smoky, I think, but whatever, you know what it is. Now, some virtual tabletops actually support the animated aspects of Dungeon Alchemist. Foundry does. I know that probably some of the others do. But if you want to have, burning fire in your game, you can with Dungeon Alchemist. All right. We'll put some rope because what campsite doesn't need plenty of rope? Put some bedrolls in these tents. wait for a second. Now that can be a bit of a tricky thing too. Is sometimes moving the object that you're trying to move, you need to get get a little creative with it. Get a little patient. Get in there. You can build crazy detailed maps too. I mean, I know that this map already has a pretty impressive amount of detail to it, but this really is just the tip of the iceberg. What other kinds of stuff does a campsite need? Let's put some crates at this campsite. Maybe this campsite is one that is used somewhat regularly. Maybe it's, as I said, it can be frustrating. Just gotta be patient. And we'll put a barrel, because why not? I also, just some, again, aesthetic things, the dells and the details, right? What other things might be at a campsite? Pretty good, I think. We'll set a little trail here, I think. A path, like a footpath. Important to remember that anytime you want to reset, you can go up there and click that button and it will reset for you. That's what the map would look like with the 3D elements implemented on the virtual tabletop. And there you go. I think that's a pretty good campsite. I might tweak it. I might hide a couple things in there. I might put some stuff up here for the release when we put it in our content pack that we're going to be putting out. Yeah, I like that. All right, so let's save it. We're going to call this Murkwater Camp. Now, I would show you the export features, but it takes a while to do that. But I will just show you when you bring it up. So you bring up the export map, and these are all of the virtual tabletops and options you have for exporting. Lots of options. So all of these, you can choose what file type you want. Since we're doing Foundry, it exports them as videos to play the animations and stuff. But you don't have to do that. You can tweak your perspective here, determine whether or not you want rendered lights. And when you do the exports, you usually get an image and then a text document, and you can copy that text document or import it. Sometimes, like when I do the Foundry, it exports the light and wall information to Foundry so that the lights and shadows are rendered in Foundry as well. Just super neat. But there you go. That's that. All right, let's bust out another one real fast. What was the other one I said I was going to do? A tomb or a graveyard? I can do a tomb or a graveyard pretty quick. We're gonna put this graveyard in the Badlands near a crater. No vegetation, no dry bushes. No water. And yes, you did see lava. Even though there's no water, we're putting replacement at water level. Alright. Badlands. Oh, I thought I said no vegetation. Did I not? Did I reselect it? I sure did. So we're gonna hide our grid because it's just a little visually overstimulating for me. And I'm gonna erase a bunch of this stuff. I really do need a new mouse, y'all. I know I've said that like a bajillion times, and I apologize, but don't worry. I'll put some of that stuff back. I really love the craters that they've added. That's a relatively new map terrain elevation thing, which I just thought was really neat. Alright. Maybe I did leave dry brushes on. I left dry brushes on. Now I know there's a way. Yeah, this is new. No vegetation. Change terrain. Yeah, there we go. It's the worst place in the world to build a graveyard, but I love it. We're gonna make it nighttime because it's a graveyard. And I know I said crater. I'm gonna turn this crater into a tomb. A crypt, excuse me. Burial chamber. Alright, so when you go up here to select your rooms, you have a couple of different, now just like with the objects, the assets that you can drop in, you have lots of different room options. And you know, each one of them has options. There are options within options. Again, if you get the program, I just encourage you just to play, explore. Then up here, the AI settings. Now what that means is you can tell Dungeon Alchemist whether you want the procedural AI to drop objects, lights, walls, windows, and doors into your space. So because I'm showing off the program for the first time, I will leave all of them on this go around. And we're gonna put this crypt right there. We're gonna add, I usually go into the top-down 2D view for this part. Put the hallway. And a small chapel back here. Now, one of the other updates that's coming on the 12th is the option to make curved and diagonal walls. And I'm so friggin' stoked for that because, yeah, I like being able to do variety in my architecture. All right, so there we have it. That is the tomb that is there in this desert. What we'll do over here, smooth out the terrain, flatten it, I think. I would love the option, I don't know if they're going to put this in here or not, but I would love the option of being able to do mixed terrains, but they at least added, you have the bases, your base, dirt, and rock. Usually pretty universal through there. Oh, that's new. You even have a graveyard category for your objects. Now they do have some of the objects are snap to grid, which I don't love. But I get it. So you can see that this one is not. That is not a snap to grid, right? I don't like that. Oh, can I change the? Interesting. What is that even doing? Other than I know I can, I can tell it's changing the color of the cross, but black cross. Gone. Now that is meant to be a pile of dirt that goes probably next to one of the holes, but we're gonna mash them together. To make an extra little grave. It's different. You can also use, there's keyboard commands, so if you want to copy something and paste multiple of the same thing, you can. Lots of options. The structural stuff tends to be things that are like building elements, as the name might imply. They've also added that you can just add the freestanding walls that exist in the game. So it used to be that you could only put these walls on a building, on a room that you're making, but now they put in the option to just drop them anywhere, which is really cool. And I'll show you why here in just a second. Because I used to struggle with getting certain aesthetics to come across, particularly like fences. There are lots of fence options, don't get me wrong, but getting it like just right, it's a little bit tedious. There we go. Great. Alright, so I'm gonna put this one right there, and then I'm actually going to sink it into the map. Turning off collisions gives you the ability to raise and lower objects. Very, very, very helpful. We can talk about railways. Maybe I'll do a railway in the tavern map. Oh, that'd be weird. But we can do railways. Because they did add that. That's a thing now. Yeah, that's a thing now. I have not played with rails yet. I haven't. But you can build railways and you can put carts on them and the carts will move, which is super neat. I love this program. I like genuinely. I might actually go more than an hour this week because I'm digging this. This is fun. It really is. You really do have to like. Now, don't get me wrong. Just throwing the AI stuff up there is perfectly viable, but to get like to really like make use of the tools, you do need to. It does take time, but you know, anything worth doing, right? Another big thing that I will sing this game's praises for is the devs. The developers are just super. They're great because you can talk to them directly in the Discord. They do office hours, video sessions where they talk about features and show you tips and tricks. They will respond to questions. It really is just they've created just a great tool, but then their support of it in hindsight is just it's great. They have a partnership with Hero Forge. You can, if you've purchased digital figures from them, which I think you get a digital version of the figure whenever you purchase a physical figure too. That might be incorrect though. I haven't got anything from them in a while. But you can import your minis into Dungeon Alchemist. It does come with a few built-in since they announced that partnership. That was part of one of the patches that they added. And in this next patch, there's apparently over 100 new tokens, minifigs that they've added from a contest that they did with Hero Forge a while back, and all of the winners got added to the game, which is just super neat. I wish I had paid attention and seen when that was happening. I just wasn't. It was a dark time in my life. Because I have so many minis built on Hero Forge, I would have loved to have just, sent one in and got added to the game. That's okay. That's okay. This would not be taking anywhere near as long if the wheel on my friggin' mouse wasn't crap. Is the tool perfect? No. It has its shortcomings, its flaws. But for what it is and for the cost, I think it's like what, 40, 45, 40? It's pretty spectacular. Doesn't matter. It's dirt, whatever. Sometimes you just gotta let go of the OCD. Alright, I think I'm going to go into the straight line here. So, time for the shift. I do think they are also planning on adding like modern and sci-fi assets, but there's already a ton of those. in the user created assets, which I'll browse through in a bit. Lots of people have imported assets from other games, which is neat, including like Fallout, and I just got the Fallout module on Foundry, so I think I'm gonna run a Fallout game. Who's in? Alright, we have this lovely fenced-in little graveyard. Let's drop some torches, shall we? Yeah, I think some torches. Actually, no, I lied. We're gonna put a door here, an archway. Sometimes it will lag a little bit when you're switching between things, like switching from like one tool to the other, especially walls and doors and windows, because you can drop the door and window anywhere. You can change the texture of the walls. You can change the texture of the floors that are in here. Like I said, lots and lots of options, lots of variables, lots of variety. It's really easy to make very diverse maps. Yeah, I like that doorway. Maybe this graveyard. Has, you know, stereotypical dead trees around. Okay, we can make a train robbery happen in the campaign. I love that idea. Actually, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. It's one of my favorite missions in Red Dead. I love the train robbery stuff. Okay, what was I gonna do now? What was I gonna do next? Furniture, right? I'm gonna put a bench out here. I'm just gonna hang some torches on the wall. Wall-mounted torches. Oh, that hit. Dang. They've broken them up more. Oh, it's been a while since I've been on here. And they used to, the categories were a little more blended previously. But you get lots of options for lights. Oh, the skeletal candles, new. Cool. We're just gonna go old school. So you want to turn collisions back on if you want to mount things to the walls. Collisions back off. Maybe this map. So again, details, visual details, things that lend themselves to the experience of the players. So we have an open grave down here. Let's just for giggles and shits. Let's drop a spade. And a lantern. Bullseye lantern, because Who doesn't love a nice dramatic light? I'll drop one more thing. Just again, I'm trying to think of like what kind of scene, what kind of scenario, what kind of something. There's a water skin. Maybe whoever was working out here left their lantern burning and left their water skin. So some of the, I had told you I downloaded some objects. I do hope that they add a means of organizing your downloaded assets a little better, but that's a giant blood splatter. Didn't realize it was that big, but it's okay. I'm gonna shrink it down. So there we go. We have set the scene down here in the corner. All right, turn our attention back up here. Now the game does not like symmetry, especially if you have the default with collisions being on. It will typically not do any kind of symmetry. It won't drop things. So if you want to put symmetry in your map, you have to, just like I said, be patient and tweak it. Because some sections should have some degree of symmetry. Balance, you know. Maybe symmetry isn't the right word. Now, so the way it placed this wall I actually really like, except I didn't make this back wall big enough, but fret not. I can select that room and make it bigger by going along this wall and just adding another line. You know what, we'll put an extra one on there. Now it's going to put a bunch of stuff in it. Now likely I will clear that stuff out, but got rid of the wall. Now the room's a little bit bigger. Oh, I see. It will also just like sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason to the way it places things. I think this crypt will come in and you're meant to take some of this water. It's a little blessing on yourself. Alright, I think our little chapel room is good. This is one of the things that the AI, it really annoys me, is that it will just drop like random objects in the middle of the friggin' floor. And that's silly. So we're just gonna go through and delete those because while they're there, I'm cool with some objects, I just don't want them in the middle of the friggin' floor. It doesn't even make sense structurally. There's a load supporting wall right there. How dare you, Dungeon Alchemist? Now, there are some things that I think could be improved upon in this aspect. Like the torches, for example, you've got a bunch of different styles in the room, and it'd be cool to be able to not to avoid that. But if you just want to replace, all you have to do is make a copy of the one you want to be the default, and shift and just go around and click on the ones you want to change. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Zoom out and we'll show everybody. Oh no, that's pretty good actually. Don't really love that door, so let's change it. We'll do, is this a grand arch? We'll do a grand arch, and then for the tomb door itself, we'll do some big double doors. What is, that's a nautical gate? What even? That's new. Mausoleum door. Alright, now obviously that's facing a friggin' wall or mound of dirt. So what you want to do here is take your smoothing tool and go to smooth this out some, and then take your flatten to room height. Again, this is just a matter of preference, what you prefer. But yeah, I think that's all she wrote. I think we'll drop some other dead trees around, you know? Yeah. And these are some asset trees that I downloaded. They are cool and weird looking. Make them bigger. And of course, we'll drop more of these in there too. Let's vary up the terrain a little bit more. Alright, if we turn our grid back on, you can change the color of the grid too. So if the map is a little on the dark side, you can tweak the transparency of it. You need it to be really solid or not. A couple of different color options there. You also have the square and hex. option, depending on what your game preference is. But yeah, I think that is, I'm gonna call that done. Game does have lots of other options too, with like stairs and pits and things that reflect going up a level or down into the basement. So lots of variety. All right, let's save this one. It's gonna be the Desert Crypt. Okay. So we are at the hour mark, and I'm tired. I know I said I was going to do 3. 2's pretty good though. Tavern might take me a minute as well. So I think what I want to do is bring this back up, if I remember where I put it. There we are. So at the beginning, this was up here. What is this? So what I've done here is I've taken all of the assets that I have at my disposal, starting with a table, blew it up really big, and then I've dropped a bunch of objects onto it. And what this is this is going to be our digital landing page for our upcoming streamed campaign, Essentia, the Expansion Chronicles. What's really neat about this image, about what I've done here, is it showcases one of the other cool features of Dungeon Alchemist is you can import your own artwork. So the artwork that we see here, these 3 characters, this image and this image, are all things that I brought to the map. This is the world map thing that I've been working on for a minute. These are character images. This is a piece that is actually just a placeholder for now, but it's from this museum in game from our homebrew world. And all of these objects are assets from the game. I don't think the only one I downloaded, the only one that was not built into the game, is this butterfly right there. Animated butterfly was added. It was an asset that I downloaded, but everything else is in game. The animations that we see, the fog, the will-o-wisps, the fireflies, the lightning, that's all built in. You have an effects, there's an effects tool over here, which gives you a bunch of different options. You can add cinders, you can just set things on fire, you know. So yeah, this virtual tabletop or landing page has been a labor of love, and I'm just absolutely love it. It's just one of my favorite things. I will likely get a print of it once it's done. But yeah, Dungeon Alchemist, pretty versatile, lots of options. Not just battle maps, but stuff like this. You can go into first-person mode. So if you're making, big villages and things, you can go in and take screenshots. You can record. You can record little videos within the app, itself, within the program itself. Up here with the cinema tool, you can take a screenshot. Or record. You can use your arrow keys to move around. You can check things out. Apparently you can, I forgot that you can turn lights on and off up there. Look at that dragon. Butterfly. Impressive level of detail for, for what it is. So there you go. There we have it. I think that's good for this week. You want a print of that? You want a print of this one, Michelle? You should, my friend. Yeah, I will absolutely print you one once I do it. I'm gonna change this middle image. As I said, it was always meant to just be a placeholder. I think I'm gonna put the world map there. I don't know what I'm gonna do over here. This right here is Karjed. This is sort of the starting point that the characters were in, but not where the campaign is actually taking place. Anyway, that's a story for another level up. Thanks for hanging out. If you're late or you missed it, you can watch it later because it's on YouTube forever now. Thanks though, I appreciate you. Come hang out with us. We won't be live next Tuesday, but we recorded next Tuesday session and it will drop live on this coming Tuesday. Our first D&D session for Tabletop Turntable, where we play a short campaign led by our very own James Downey, set in the world that we created using the Quiet Year. Super fun, steampunk elements, absolute chaos party. We had a lot of fun last night. I'm playing a real big, dumb Goliath named Korvath. Anyway, a lot of fun. So come hang out with us. And then I will be live again Wednesday after next, showing off the new magic update for Dungeon Alchemist, which will bring in some Feywild stuff and hopefully the curved and diagonal buildings, which I know sounds silly, but I promise it's gonna be really cool. Check them out. They're on TikTok, they're on Discord, they have their own YouTube channel. We'll drop some links somewhere. The wife is in charge of that part of this endeavor here. But yeah, this was fun. I love this program, can't recommend it enough. And yeah, I will see you all, I guess, next time. Thanks, and never stop playing.